Hello everyone, my name is Terry Wheaton. I've been posting information about the growth of fascism in the Western world. I live in Canada, and I have been putting up posts on Steemit mostly, and I haven't tried a video one before, so I hope you'll bear with me. I'm just going to jump in and tell you what happened here. I'm living in Canada. We had a new constitution written for us in 1981 by a man whose name is Pierre Elliott Trudeau. He's from the province of Quebec. And he wrote also a thing called the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And I wasn't aware of this at the time, but he made a very detailed list of all the things in Canada, all the rights of Canadians, and privileges as well for some strange reason, but I shouldn't probably say strange, but I'm going to because it seemed weird that he would write it down. However, anyway, as it turned out, as I now know, because I've had taken legal action in court to protect myself, he gave all of those rights to the judges of Canada. He did not give them to the people. He gave them to the judiciary. And I didn't realize this, but I've gotten to court many times, and judges won't let me speak or bring my case. I am self-represented. I expected to be treated in the same way that a lawyer is, and I've gone against many lawyers. And they look at you like, you're riffraff. And in fact, a judge, Calgary, Alberta, a woman judge, when addressing the second-year students of law, who she addressed in the courtroom, she said, I am in the ivory tower, and all these self-represented people I see coming through my door, I call them riffraff. I had noticed this myself, because this just happened this year in 2017, but I have been in and out of the courtrooms of Canada since 1995. A long time. And of the cases I have, which are 4, I do not have a statement of defense from anyone. And I have a lawyer friend who helped me make my cases. He got me the checklist of all the things that you have to go through in Canada to have a court case heard by a judge. Seems reasonable enough, doesn't it? Until you get there, and then you discover something. You have, in the courtrooms of Canada, you have only the rights that the judge says you do. And if the judge is saying you're not speaking or presenting your case, you're not. And I even went to small claims court in the end of one of my cases. Actually, I suppose I have 5. I went to small claims court because I couldn't get paid by the Department of Fisheries and Oceans. They refused to pay me for the work I did. I wanted to take a civil case because it's a lot of money. Anyway, I took the advice of lawyers through the Law Referral Service, and they said, you go to small claims court, hands down, you win. So I do that. And I went for the maximum, of course. So when I got there, the Department of Fisheries and Oceans had hired a woman named Shelley Chapalski. I hope I've said her last name correctly. She is a red-haired woman who likes to flick her hair a lot and blink at the judge. A lot. So when I go there, my lawyer friend decides he's coming with me. He wants to see how I perform in the courtroom because he's given me a lot of advice. So I have a legal argument written for me. He wrote it. I didn't write it. And I hope to be able to present my case. I have a contract with the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, which is broken. They didn't honor it. They're the government of Canada, and they refused to honor the contract. So I go there. And I was the first person heard. There are other people, small claims court, they're lined up against the wall. My name was called first, so I stand in my spot. The lawyer stands ahead of you and on the right-hand side of the judge. Shelley Chapalski stood there. We, the riffraff, are not permitted past the fence. We got to stand at the fence, riffing and raffing. So the male judge, he's smiling at me. He's having fun. I can see that he's having fun. And he starts off by saying, Mr. Wheaton, I have no idea why you're here today. I said, Your Honor, I thought it was pretty clear how I've written out my case here, that I haven't been paid, the contract is broken, and I want to be compensated. What? He goes like this. I thought he was Joe Clark or something. We used to have this Prime Minister called Joe Clark, and he used to do this strange laugh like, It reminds you of Marty McFly's father in Back to the Future, it was the same laugh. In fact, maybe that's where they got the idea for Marty McFly's father. Anyway, to get to it, my lawyer friend, we made a deal. He clicks his pen, start reading your argument. So I start reading my argument. And the judge laughed. He says, Mr. Wheaton, what are you doing? I said, I'm reading my legal argument. He can't believe it. He's looking at me like, who the hell are you? So the woman lawyer, Shelley Chapowski, jumps up. Your Honor, this is a nuisance hearing. Mr. Wheaton here has already sued us in court. He has been paid by the Department of Fisheries and Oceans. This is a nuisance claim. So the judge looks at me and says, Mr. Wheaton, I am dismissing your case right now. I said, Your Honor, I have never sued them before. And I make it look like she's lying to you, but she keeps flicking her hair, blinking, and she bobs up and down a little bit too. She has kind of large glands. So she's doing this. And the judge, my lawyer friend's clicking his pen again, so I start to read. And the judge says, Mr. Wheaton, stop, 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 stop. I have dismissed your case. You're out of here. Then the lawyer, Shelley Chapowski, says, Your Honor, I need my costs. And I need Mr. Wheaton to promise that he will never again sue my client, the Department of Fisheries and Oceans. And the judge, laughing, he looks at me and he says, well, what do you think of that, Mr. Wheaton? What do you think of that? I said, well, to my knowledge, Your Honor, small claims court, there are no costs. So Shelley Chapowski says, Your Honor, I have spent a lot of time on this. This is a nuisance claim. I need my time accounted for. So the judge looks at her and I said, Your Honor, I have never sued them before. I'd like to know the case number. The judge can't believe I'm talking. You know, he's looking like, if he had a rock, he'd have thrown it. He can't believe I'm still talking. He's looking at me like, Jesus, will you never shut up? So he says to Shelley Chapowski, I'm doing this from memory, mind you. It's been recorded, of course. He says, Mr. Chapowski, what's the file number for Mr. Wheaton's previous case? So now she's going, she's starting to drop papers on the floor. The judge stares right at her, and then he looked at me. Then he looked over on his left, and there's all these other people, some women, some men, and they've got folders, and they hope to be able to speak next. But they put all their paperwork together, and they look behind me at the door. They want to leave. I have court costs to pay, actually. Legal costs to pay, Shelley Chapowski, the lawyer for the Department of Fisheries and Oceans. I have to do this. So the judge, he's worried now. He's looking at them, he's looking at Shelley Chapowski. He's hoping Shelley Chapowski is going to give him a clue of what he should do now, because he doesn't know. So in frustration he says, Mr. Wheaton, I'm wrong here. You need to appeal my decision in small claims court, plus you have to take your case to the BC Supreme Court Civil Division, because I have a feeling you're owed a lot more money than what you can get in this courtroom. Everybody take care of their own costs. Bang! Shelley Chapowski grabbed everything she could grab, was trying to put it all back in her briefcase, and I turned to walk out, and the judge is nervous now. He's looking at everybody else like, oh my God. Usually when a judge is going to savage a member of the public, self-represented, they want the courtroom to be empty. Nobody else can get to see the bloodletting, because it is a bloodletting. When they destroy your ability to protect yourself in the courtrooms of Canada, which is their right, because it was given to them by the Prime Minister of Canada, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, when he wrote the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. We have none. When we in Canada stand before a judge, we have no rights at all. You have only the rights the judge says you do. And this goes on, but I'll try not to get too involved, because it's a long story and it's complicated, and things like this to talk about and other things to talk about. Lawyers who are drunk driving and don't get charged for drunk driving because they're really important lawyers. Unbelievable, really, the system that we have to live under here. However, just to get back to this one more time, I leave. My lawyer friend comes out with me. My lawyer friend is white in the face. He is an important guy. He had at that time he had a law firm that he owned. He had 3 lawyers working for him plus himself. He's a smart guy. He's a successful lawyer. He's got money. I am his friend. I've been his friend for a long time, so he tried to help me, you see. So we go right to the coffee bar. We're getting coffee. He can hardly hold on to it. He's shaking so much, right? Out the door comes Shelley Chapowski, flicking her hair. You think she was Miss Piggy. Remember how Miss Piggy used to flick her hair? She did the same thing. Walked straight by us. Close. I thought she was going to, like, push us or something out of the way. She keeps going, and my friend looked at her go out, and he said, well, she got caught lying to the judge. I said, yeah. I said, you know what? They have discussed this before I got here. You and I got here. He said, oh, you know what? These things are not supposed to happen. He said, however, he had already decided before you got here. The judge had already decided what's going to happen to you. He had already figured this out. I said, well, it looked to me like they were either on the phone to each other or they've just had breakfast together. This was early in the morning, I'm heard. My lawyer friend says, this is not supposed to happen. This is not supposed to happen. This is impossible. This is not supposed to happen. So I said, well, what am I going to do now? I'm going to appeal his decision? He said, he screwed you. He gave you conflicting information. You cannot go now to small claims court to appeal his decision, plus open a case at civil court. He says, in civil court, the costs are huge. And if you get the wrong judge, the judge is going to say, Mr. Wheaton, did you appeal this as the former judge told you to do in small claims court? And you know, appeals are almost always turned down in British Columbia, the province where I'm working. This is where I was doing all this. In British Columbia, it is almost impossible to overturn any judge decision. I think that's why lawyers lie to judges, hoping to get away with it, so they can get the decision in their favor, and then you can't appeal it. I mean, you can appeal it, but you won't win. Because the next judge hearing it's going to go, oh my God, the lawyer lied to the judge and he got away with it. The judge blessed him and sent him on his way. And as my lawyer friends, I use that terminology, blessed him and sent him on his way, because that's what my lawyer friend said about Shelley Chapowski when she went by us. He said, the judge has blessed her and sent her on her way. I said, yeah, but she lied to him. He said, this is not supposed to happen. This is not supposed to happen at all. This is crazy. This is not our justice system. This is not it. Well, my experience has been that this is it. So I have to walk out. Okay? I haven't been heard. I don't get to talk. I don't get to present a case. My decision was made on the telephone between Shelley Chapowski and the judge in small claims court. They discuss me. They talk about me. And the only thing she wants to do, as I later found out, because the harbor that I worked at, I got to see the bills that she presented us. And on average, she got paid $50,000 per year for representing that harbor. That's a lot of money. And she doesn't do much, right? How long was she there? Barely 10 minutes. The judge, unfortunately, he doesn't want to show me his cards. He holds his hand this way like, oh my God, I can't tell you that Shelley Chapowski and I have had a telephone conversation about you, or she has just had breakfast with me. So that was the end of my day. But that is fascist as hell. That is not democratic. There is no law involved. People who are self-represented, the judges refer to us in Canada as riffraff. They have all of our rights in their hands. We have none. Our Prime Minister, Pierre Trudeau, did not give us the rights. He used to call the people of Canada a nation of bitchers. Now, just to be fair, Pierre Trudeau is French. He's from Quebec, and his first language is French. So when he used this terminology, I watched him do it in a lot of his conferences, his news reports and stuff, and he would say these words. That's not a word. Bitcher is not a word. Pitcher is a word. Like if you give a guy a baseball and he throws it from the plate, over the home plate, that's called a pitch. Not bitch. Pitch. And he is referred to as the pitcher. Not a bitcher, but a pitcher. But the Prime Minister of our country, who's just written us a brand new constitution, wow, which he said would last 1,000 years. He says we're a nation of bitchers, not bitches. He's quite good with the ladies. He's quite good with the ladies, especially the Hollywood girls. Wow. We had such a parade of the Hollywood women. Fantastic. You can't believe it. You look at this anymore. I don't know what's going on, man. I don't get it. Anyway, I never did get paid. I never went back to court. The Department of Fisheries and Oceans got to screw me out of my money, out of my job. Shelley Jabalski lied. She walked away. She makes $50,000 a year just from the company I used to work for. I, of course, got fired. Hey, they fired me because I took them to court to get paid. The Department of Fisheries and Oceans fired me? Wow. This is the second time I've been fired by the Department of Fisheries and Oceans. The second time. It's amazing to me. It's like, I don't get what's going on here. I can't protect myself from the abuses of the Crown. And this is the point. Under English common law, the people are protected from the Crown, because the Crown has a very well documented history of destroying people. We were at one time effectively, well, they used to call us vassals. You lived on the noble's land or the king's land, and you do not get paid. You get a roof over your head, you know, and if there was some spare rotten meat that they had in the mansion, you and your children get to eat the spare rotten meat. You don't get any clothes, you get nothing. And when there's a war, here's a bow and arrow, go shoot them. Can I get fed, please? Yeah, here's some maggoty feet, here's some maggoty meat. Put it to ya. That's the way it used to be in England. So anyway, here we are in Canada. We now have a new constitution, and we have a new courtroom called the Federal Court, created by Pierre Trudeau as well, 1978. I hope I have the year right. Because when I was a younger man, I used to be quite political, and me and my friends, one of my friends is very big in the Liberal Party of Canada. He still is. He lives in Ottawa. It's the capital of Canada, if you don't know, but he can make some very bad things happen to you, or some very good things happen to you, because he's so well connected with the government. This, of course, is predominant around the world. It's just the way we do it. It's terrible, really, but apparently it is the best system there is. So anyway, I'm going to turn this off right now, because I'm afraid I'm going to get into something else which will not make any sense. However, this is fascism through and through. People cannot talk. People cannot protect themselves from the abuses of the Crown. Your employer gets to do whatever they like to you. The police can do whatever they like here in Canada. I know that because I've brought complaints about the police, even though, and some of them, they don't even answer it. They're not getting involved because, you know what, 4 cops ought to be in jail today. Aggravated assault. Now, that's why my teeth are the way they are. That's why my teeth are the way they are. Now, when you're handcuffed in Canada, I don't know if you know this, but as soon as you put the handcuffs on you, the beating starts. Whoa, they can lay it in there. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Terry Wheaton. I'm going to be back. I'm trying this out for the first time, so if you got some complaints or some encouragement, you know where. Thank you very much. I like Steam It, by the way, and I like YouTube. What kind of shirts do I wear? How come they're so clean? Feels a little bit like Columbo, you know. I was a big fan of Columbo when he had his own TV show, of course, and the show was called Columbo. He seemed like such a bumbling idiot, right? But he would once in a while talk about his wife, and he would say things like, "There's just one more thing. My wife is a big fan of yours. She asked me. She said, I want you to ask Terry Wheaton there, like, how does he get his shirts so clean? You know, yeah. So if it's not too much trouble, could you, sir, tell me? I'll just a second. I'll write it down. Do you have a pen? Piece of paper? All right. Okay. Go ahead. How do you get your shirts so clean? What? You have a laundry service? I'm just a poor police officer. I don't have enough money for a laundry service. I don't think I want to tell Rose, that's my wife's name, that you have a laundry service, and we don't. Don't leave town. Bye.